council chambers. First item would be the adoption of minutes from previous meetings, committee of the whole minutes from October the 6th, and regular open minutes from October the 6th. Any comments, changes, any input from council? They'll be adopted by consensus. Any business arising from prior minutes? Hearing none, we'll move to delegations. No delegations. Moving into water matters. Water accounts payable in the amount of $47,125.03. Looking for approval from Councillor Laranjo, Councillor Morera. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? That has been carried. Into correspondence. Correspondence 1, a monthly report from the Okanagan Basin Water Board regarding the October 2nd meeting highlights. Receiving for approval, please. Rhodes McCordoff. All in favor? Opposed? That is done. Under bylaws, no bylaws. Moving right along into I, Business 1, a council meeting report for Mayor Wells. This is the chit that I have submitted within the town bylaws. When I attended the UBCM in Whistler, I was there for 6 days. Somehow it worked out to be 5 days at $100 a day, and that's fine. That's where it should be. That's what I submitted for. So we need approval for that.
I'll move
Councillor
that, Mr.
Ryan Plant. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Business 2, September income statements, Town of Osoyoos and Sun Bowl Arena. We have our quarterly report from Director of Financial Services, Mr. Zackel, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. So before Council is the income statements to September 30th, 2014. They're being presented to Council for the Town of Osoyoos and Sun Bowl Arena. The accounts to September 30th, 2014 have been reviewed and are accurately reflected in the attached documents. So the highlights to the Town of Osoyoos income statement. General fund projected surplus is $53,600. The general operating revenues under the categories: taxes, real property levy is projected to be on budget. Taxes collected for other governments is projected to be on budget. Taxes collected from utilities is projected to be on budget. Cemetery operations, current surplus of $2,550.34. This is to be projected to be on budget. Licenses, permits, and rentals projected to be on budget. Solid waste management, landfill tipping and septage fees are $14,914.41 higher than 2013 at this time, but there is a current deficit of $6,725.99 and a projected deficit of $30,000. Development and building services, current deficit of $32,681.69 and projected deficit is $30,000. Return on investments, budget surplus at the time of this report of $22,852.57 and a projected surplus is $48,000. Under donations, budget surplus of $36,670.24 and a projected surplus is $36,600. This is the major donation that we had received from TELUS that sent our donations account up for the splash park. Land and equipment sales. We're planning on selling the used equipment no longer being utilized in the fall, and this is projected to be on budget. The community services under facilities revenue. Revenues are up by $2,975.87 from 2013 at this time, and this is projected to be on budget. Community services for program revenue. Revenues are down by $6,189.20 from 2013 at this time, but this is also projected to be on budget. Unconditional transfers from government has a projected surplus of $29,000. Conditional transfers from government, $188,047.82 in additional resort municipality funding was received. Additional funding being utilized towards the Gyro Park Multipurpose Plaza project. We have borrowing and transfer from own funds, and this is to be projected to be on budget, and it's tied to capital projects. Under general operating expenditures, general government services is under budget by $55,703.80 at the time of this report, and we're projecting this to be on budget. Protective Services is under budget by $46,764,000 at the time of this report, and it's projected to be on budget. Transportation Services is under budget by $57,903.35 at the time of this report, projected to be on budget. Environmental Health under budget by $108,004.58 at the time of this report, projected to be on budget. Public Health under budget by $966.39 at the time of this report, and that's projected to be on budget. Community Services under budget by $30,617.38 at the time of this report, and this is projected to be on budget. As you can see, there's a common theme with the general expenditures, even though it's under budget at this time. Something unforeseen could happen, and I don't want to project a surplus on something that could happen. If our situation continues in a good situation, we should see a nice surplus. Under Parks and Cultural, over budget by $563.87 at the time of this report. This is projected to be on budget. Resort Municipality Projects, this is projected to be on budget once we get our Gyro Park project finished. South Okanagan Emergency Preparedness, prepared to be on budget. Transfer of Taxes, Debts, and Reserves, this is also projected to be on budget. And capital expenditures, for the most part, projected to be on budget. Sewer Fund, projected surplus of $86,000. Under utility revenues, we've received an additional $51,000 in capacity charges recovered from the RDOS for the Northwest Sector Sewer Project. And this is projected surplus of $56,000. Capital revenue projected to be on budget, and it's tied to capital projects. Under the operating, under budget by $95,382.17 at this time. Projected surplus is $30,000. Debt charges projected to be on budget, and capital expenditures projected to be on budget. Under the water fund, projected surplus is $68,300. Under the revenue, under water district utility revenue, we have a surplus of $55,376.79 at the time of this report, and a projected surplus is $55,000. This is the two Ida Low apartments, and I believe the La Stella Winery that got connected, so that's the additional connection revenues. Under water utility revenue, projected to be slightly under budget by $6,700. Under expenditures, water district operating is under budget by $66,326.28 at the time of this report, and this is projected to be on budget. Water utility operating is under budget by $205,964.78 at the time of this report, and this is projected to have a surplus of $20,000. Debt charges is projected to be on budget, and capital expenditures is projected to be on budget. Under the highlights for Sun Bowl Arena, statement to September 30th, 2014, revenues of $107,841.01 are $28,710.98 higher than 2013 at this time. This is due to the Kraft Hockeyville Award that we received for $25,000. Expenses of $429,710.67 are $9,982.37 lower than this time last year. We have a current surplus of $149,024.79, and the projected surplus at year end is projected to be minimal. So the recommendation is for Council to receive the September 30th, 2014 income statements for the Town of Osoyoos and Sun Bowl Arena.
Thanks, Director Zacco. Going through all that, was there any alerts that Council should be aware of? Anything that we should be flagging here?
The only thing is we're still seeing our landfill tipping fees and septage fees. We're not seeing them reach targets, so we're going to have to relook at that one more time. They have to be recycling more. That's the only thing. That's the only equation that I can throw into it.
Okay.
Because our numbers are down for what we're receiving, so that's a good thing, because it extends the life of the landfill. On the opposite end of the scale, we're not seeing the revenues that we were projecting. Okay. But it's not that significant this year to really cause much of an issue. Likewise with development services, we're not quite meeting targets. Expenditures are offsetting that. So, likewise, we've seen an upswing in that quite substantially from the previous year, but it's not quite there yet either. Okay, well, thanks for that. It's good that Council just understands that and knows that
that, for example, you know, the landfill income is down. That's
Yep.
That's interesting. And I have one. Where did it go here? Transportation services, 392 and 600,000 for the year. What is that?
Well, that's
What's
basically
in there?
Public Works.
Okay.
So we've got
Okay.
their equipment, we've got storm drains, road marking, sidewalk maintenance, snow removal, street lighting, airport
Okay.
maintenance, all of those kind of things.
Under transportation.
That's correct.
Okay, I was
Yep.
going, whoa. Okay, any other, Councillor Ryan?
Yes, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I just had a question on the Sun Bowl Arena income. With the Hockeyville award of $25,000, how does that affect our cost sharing with the regional district?
It doesn't. It's technically a grant that we got. We have 3 years to use the money, and there's a couple of options which we will be working on before the end of the year.
Okay, so it's just kind of outside of the normal.
So ultimately, this 25,000 will go into reserves, which basically jointly affects Area A and the town. So it's a grant for the Sun Bowl Arena. So it'll, at year end, that's where it would go.
When utilized, it'll help
offset the
both
expenditures.
parties to the agreement. Okay, thank you.
Okay, looking for a motion to receive Rhodes McCordoff. All in favor? That has been done. Next, under business 3, weight room after hours. Director Davis, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do have an abbreviated version, if you prefer that. I still want to highlight all the most important points, but
Well,
it's a little shorter.
we certainly have some time today.
Okay.
But, you know, we don't, you call that,
Okay.
semi-abbreviated. How's
Okay,
that?
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Council approved an after-hours pass for the use of the weight room in 2010. The system has been working well with the exception of the late-night users who bring in other patrons or who do not pay or acquire an after-hours pass. Staff received correspondence asking to open the weight room earlier during the weekdays. The main reason was to accommodate people so they can get to the gym before they go to work. We also completed a survey which favored early morning use. A minimum 3-month pass must be purchased in order to get an after-hours pass. The current after-hours are set at 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Sunday. This is an honor system. After-hours users are instructed on the rules, which includes the hours of use, the mag lock on the outside, and the alarm keypad on the inside. Currently, we have 38 people registered for an after-hours pass. This has created many issues. Most of the after-hours users prefer the early mornings. There are fewer who attend at night. The main issues with some late-night users include patrons who bring in other people. The bigger issue is they sometimes give their friend the access code and they enter alone not knowing the rules. Many times they set the alarm off as they do not know the procedure to close, and staff has to respond to an alarm call. Even though we have the weight room monitored with video cameras, we cannot always identify who the users are. We also ask patrons to sign a form that was developed by our MIA. This also may cause liability issues if they do enter and not sign the release of liability and waiver form. The most important reason to have the facility open is for the early morning users. Our maintenance staff starts at 6 a.m. and he can open the facility at that time. As per the original request, this can easily be completed on a Monday to Friday basis. This is also advantageous as we will have a staff person on site if the alarm is set off or if a user needs assistance. Once the building is closed at the end of the shift, nobody can enter, even with a pass code, as another lock is implemented, preventing entry. We currently have the facility closed for 4 hours during the week so that we can accommodate a thorough cleaning. If the facility was closed on Sundays, we can get it clean without interrupting use during regular business hours. Any current user who purchased the after-hours pass to work out later at night could be reimbursed if this schedule isn't feasible for them. Staff has checked with other facilities that are open on a similar basis, and their system is more secure as they have staff on site at all times. As a capital option for 2015, we are planning to include a $10,000 budget to upgrade the doors and security system. The proposed upgrades could include key fobs for all users. The doors at the entrance are in need of replacement as they are very old and worn. The other option to consider is to have staff at the facility during the hours we're open. The amount of use we have would not warrant such measures. Some users will be upset if the facility is not open past closing hours, but the alternative of extra staffing dollars for call-outs, increased staffing hours, and breach security may not be in the best interest for all. In terms of implications for the community, we are meeting the needs of the community as per our survey that was completed without competing with local business. In terms of organizational implications, making the changes administratively can be easily accomplished without incurring extra budget dollars. We don't really have a budget implication unless we take other measures, which could include staffing dollars. In terms of significant dates, if we can do this ASAP, if any changes are made, we would notify everybody with written correspondence, e-news, and media release. Typically, we would give a grace period for up to a month. In terms of options, number one, for council to direct staff to have the weight room open from 6 a.m. till 8:45 p.m., which is our regular hours of operation. We would have staff on board from Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday, and closed on Sunday. Option number two, for council to direct staff to make alternate arrangements in order to meet the needs of the patrons utilizing the facility. This could be by hiring new staff or providing more hours with current staff to accommodate the extended hours, and this isn't in our current operational budget. And option number three, status quo and do nothing at this time, and our recommendation is for option number one.
Thanks, Director Davis. Just before I turn this over to council, how often, like I find that very serious that there's a breach of security, one person being in there, passes being exchanged, and you know, there's a liability there obviously that's very, very large to the town. How often has that, in a year, has there been one breach or 15 breaches, or how often is this being abused?
This past weekend we had two, just this past weekend, and it seems like it's increasing.
Wow.
And I think one of the reasons it's increasing is because whoever started giving out their passcodes, whether they're young people,
sure,
or anybody else, it just seems to be catching on fire right now.
Okay.
And this weekend there was a call out on Saturday and Sunday.
Wow. Okay, we need something done. That's just obvious. Council, please. Councillor Plant.
I would like to move that we go with option one as worded.
Okay. And Councillor Rhodes seconding. Speaking to that?
Actually, yeah, I can speak with it because I think I am one of those people that has one of those passes. And I, you know, with 38 people that actually have it, and the majority of those people using it in the morning, I think just makes sense. It takes out that liability, and we have people there at 6 a.m. where it just doesn't make sense to have staff come in there for those hours. So I think it makes sense just where people typically are using it, and that we already have somebody there at that 6 a.m. time, it can be monitored a lot better. So that's just my thought.
Yeah, I think on the liability to the town, I think that makes good sense. Who else was? Did I miss somebody? No. Yeah. Okay. So any further input into that? All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
We'll initiate the changes.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure there will be a bit of an outcry. So that would be directed to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Director Davis.
Thank you.
Going on to business 4, report from Director Cunningham on the Gyro Park Plaza.
Good afternoon, Council. The administration requests council confirmation of a selected contractor for our re-tendering of the Gyro Park Plaza Stage A and parking lot landscaping project. On August 18th, council confirmed a phased approach to this project whereby the scope of work to be undertaken over 2014-2015 would depend on the tender prices received and available funds. This approach was partly a response to our earlier unsuccessful tendering in April. The scope of each project phase is summarized in the following table, along with our consultant's latest cost estimates. So there's a total of 6 phases. The first phases are under what's called the base bid work, and they include plaza paving, including irrigation, electrical conduits, tree and turf planting within the plaza, and installation of signage, lighting, bollards, tree gates, and bike racks. Gyro parking area, including trees and plants, concession washroom area paving, pathway, furniture, and turf under trees. And those base phases were estimated by our consultants, outlined design as costing $474,934.50. So that's $474,934,000.50. Then we identified 2 phases of optional work, and this was considered desirable because we had full expectation that certainly the first 4 phases would be completed within the monies that we had available, but we weren't sure about phases 5 and 6, so we separated them out. And it also gave us the flexibility to tell the contractor that we weren't able to come up with the money for those phases, and there would be no contractual problems with that. So the extra money for those 2 phases was $159,844.50. This brings the total for all 6 phases up to $634,749. By comparison, the next second table shows Council's agreed budget, and that's split into 2 parts. First was the original budget that they allocated for this project. That came to $624,700. And then subsequently, the Council approved the availability of supplementary funds if in fact we needed them. And this was the result of reallocating funds from the Lower Spartan Drive Y project, which is not proceeding at this time, and also cost savings on our other landscaping projects, which are proceeding at this time. The subtotal for that was $174,500, so the total available monies came to $799,200. The closing time for tenders was 2 p.m. October 1st, 2014, and 7 tenders were opened. A tender from 5 Point Operations was disqualified because of incomplete tender documentation, which lacked the required bid bonding. The qualified tenders are compared below in ascending order of price in the following third and last table. Crown Contracting of Surrey came in at the lowest at $626,289.49. Grizzly Excavating Limited came in at $729,185. Sierra Landscaping came in at $730,759.33. OCC Group Inc. came in at $772,893.45. Arteria Construction came in at $833,976.15. And Canadian Lawn Care Services came in at $837,266.85. And the locations of these companies vary quite widely, ranging from Surrey, Penticton, Winfield, Richmond, Kelowna, and Langley. As can be seen, the retendering prices range from $628,289.49 to $837,266.85. This is significantly lower than the earlier tendering price of between $799,117.23 and $895,655.55. The lower retendering prices probably reflect some design cost savings made by our consultants and the benefits of waiting later in the season when contractors tended to have less projects lined up. The low bid from Crown Contracting of $628,289.59 is within Outland's total cost estimate. It is also close to our original budget, meaning the majority of Council's authorized supplementary funds can be reallocated back for other purposes. Outland compared each contractor's detailed cost breakdowns for 93 construction material components that make up their total tender. They found all Crown contracting costs to be credible and realistic, with no evidence of purposeful underbidding or underestimation of the work required. Crown Contracting, President C.G. Hartshorn, is a large lighting supplier for utilities, municipalities, industries, and sport facilities. Their subcontractor is Interpave Precast Systems, also located in Surrey, which is a large supplier of hard and soft landscape services for institutional, residential, commercial, and municipal customers. And according to our consultants, their inclusion is one of the reasons why the prices are so competitive. Our consultants also confirm that all references have good relationships with the companies. Option 1, Council confirms the selection of Crown Contracting Limited to undertake all 4 base phases and both optional phases of the Gyro Park Plaza Stage A and Parking Lot Landscaping Project for the cost of $628,289.49. Option 2, Council could consider postponing the 2 optional phases, but this is not recommended given we have the monies in hand, and completing all of Stage A will position us well to go on and complete the Stage B spine extension out to the east point of Gyro Park. Option 3, no action. Impacts community. A multi-purpose plaza was a recommended priority of the Gyro Park Charette stakeholders and included in the Gyro Park plan endorsed by Council. Budgets, the above. Organizational, the directors work closely on tendering with the outline design consultants. Timelines. Complete contract documentation as quickly as possible. Start construction this year with a winter break before restarting in early spring to be ready for next summer. Sustainability. Attractive recreational assets are a fundamental cornerstone for community quality of life and economic competitiveness. Recommendations. Administration recommends option 1.
Thanks, Director Cunningham. Gee, you look at that, you start thinking maybe we should do all our tenders twice.
They might catch on.
Because that, the low one was $799 in the first go around, and this is $628. It's a huge gap. And I guess I just, for council and for the public, there's over $100,000 between the low bid and the second bid, and I know you've done the due diligence and you make reference to it there. Can you just talk about that due diligence a little bit more on making sure that, when someone is $100 and some odd thousand low, that everything's okay?
Yeah, well, as part of the tender requirements, each of the companies submitting tenders had to prepare cost estimates, and that was units and prices for each of the 93 construction material components. And our consultants went through all of those and compared them from one proposal to the other, looking for any anomalies, like for instance was something very, very low, or which could indicate that they were low bidding deliberately, and then you might have problems later on when they say, gee, we can't do it for the work we said, or it could be that they just didn't understand the scope of the work. So our consultants went through those comparisons and didn't find anything untoward at all. All the differences made sense. There are obviously some people estimated more in certain items than others, but there wasn't a huge swing like there was the first time round, where some of those items were, for one consultant, might have been 3 times more than another, and that indicates that they didn't sharpen their pencil properly, or they didn't take the exercise seriously. In this particular case, they are truly competitive bids.
Okay, great, thank you very much. Council's wishes on this, please. Councillor McCordoff.
Yes, thank you. I would be happy to support option 1, that we award the contract to Crown Contracting from Surrey.
Okay, and Councillor Rhodes seconding. Any further discussion? Any comments on Councillor Ryan, please?
Yes, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Well, I think this is just an excellent tender, and it's just wonderful to see that kind of a price and to be able to do all 7 phases of this. So clearly we made a good decision to hold off and to stick to our guns and say it was too much, and the timing seemed to be a contributing factor. So I think this is really exciting.
Great, thank you. Those funds that we brought out of some other little pockets, would they go back into that same area? Because, you know, I have a soft spot in my heart for the Y program, so.
Yeah, they'll go back into those
Okay.
areas.
Okay.
Yeah. The one was specifically for the Y development. The other one was budgeted funds that we didn't use on the marina parking area project.
Okay.
So the marina, again, funds will be available for that project, but also it won't be used to go into reserves.
Okay. Anything else from council? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. I'd just like to make one comment there, and this is mostly for the, well, it is for the taxpayers of Osoyoos. When you look at this and you see the resort municipality initiative funding there, it's $450,000. Now that's a very, very significant amount of money. If that was coming out of budget funding, we would never get there. So when people are looking at tourism and what it does for the town and what some of the paybacks are to the people that live here, that marina and all those additions that we're seeing that make the town of Osoyoos so wonderful, a lot of that money is coming from the tourism industry and from the province of BC through the Resort Municipality Initiative. As I said, that's $450,000, give or take. Which is going to be such an asset to the town, because we're going to have that new walkway that's going to be down there, going to be synthetic wood, you know, for the Okanagan sun and things. This is going to be a real significant change in Gyro Park. So I just wanted to make that comment. That is it for the business parts of the meeting. Any notice of motion coming forward? No. Into reports. We're looking at cash requirements for the general Sun Bowl cash requirements to September the 20th. General account in the amount of $253,984.72. Sun Bowl in the amount of $7,609.47. And payroll accounts in the amount of $64,122.38. Any input into those, they'll be adopted by consensus. Oh, and sorry, the payroll accounts of $64,122.38 received for information. Any input into that, also by consensus. Any committee reports coming forth? No committee reports. Moving into the CAO report. CAO Romanko, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. Just a few of the activities that our administration has been involved in over the last couple of weeks. Starting in community services, work will be starting soon on the making improvements to one of our diamonds up at the West Bench. Apparently the shale has been ordered, and we should be taking the turf off here in the next week or so. Halloween Hollow is scheduled for Friday, October 31st at the Sonora Center. And staff met with Steve Brown and Sarah Opp regarding race series in Osoyoos, and we heard that presentation this morning at the Committee of the Whole meeting. So if the public's interested in that, they can take a look at our Granicus video on that. A couple of events planned for Waste Reduction Week, October 20th to 27th, including a coloring contest and quiz for youth, and a draw for adults and older youth who send in a picture of waste to reduce waste. We're in the process of starting the renovations at the women's change room and the new storage area off the gymnasium. This is part of the approved capital works budget for 2014. In corporate services, the elections are consuming a lot of time for both our staff. There's a lot of I's to dot and T's to cross to make that process happen. Also dealt with one Freedom of Information request, some land issues, and just in terms of bylaw, a reminder to watch out for puncture vine and and have the proper disposal of that particular noxious weed. And there's information available on our website. The Finance Department has been reviewing the September financials, and that was presented to Council today, and is very active right now in the budgeting preparation process. Planning and Development has been working on the Marina project, monitoring some of the activities in that area, also working on the business plan and the Gyro Park tendering report which you had here today. Public Works is in fall mode with washroom shutdowns, fall tree trimming, and irrigation blowouts. Myself, we met with the Fire Hall Committee to talk about next steps in terms of communication. Also met with TELUS Fiber to discuss the fiber optic project, kind of a follow-up meeting to what worked and what didn't work. The administration will be in a day and a half of business planning. That'll set up our budget and also council orientation. That'll be happening this week. Had a meeting and discussion over the library space and met with the Dragon Boat Club about looking for a home for them, and also reviewed the new Building Canada funding guidelines that just came out last week. So that's my report for today.
Thank you, CAO Romanko. Moving into councillor reports. Number one would be Councillor Plante, please.
Thanks, Mayor. Actually, I'm going to pass today. Thank you.
Okay. And Councillor McCordoff.
Yes, thank you. I was not here at the last council meeting because I was on a trip. Most interesting, I flew to Quebec City, which is a fabulous city if nobody has visited it. It's a walled city, steeped in history, and a great part of Canada. I went on a cruise down the St. Lawrence and ended up after 10 days down in New York. But one of the interesting stops was at Charlottetown, where 150 years ago, the Charlottetown Conference was held, which really had the Fathers of Confederation there, and they got things started in unifying Canada. So that was in 1864. Canada was proclaimed a country in 1867. So in 2017, we will be celebrating 150 years. Down in New York, that is an amazing city if you've never been there. I walked Manhattan for 3 days with the point of view of looking at how they manage when the city goes 24/7. How do they manage to get their public works done? How do they do street closures and so on? It was most interesting. One of the things that I was fascinated by was on Fifth Avenue, which is a huge main thoroughfare, of course, with lots of very well-known stores. They have a parade every Sunday. And I think it's from October to April, and the parade that was on the day I was there was the Polish and Slovakian Society. When I went across Fifth Avenue at 1:45, the parade was in full swing, and I went to a Broadway play and came out over 2 hours later, and the parade was still in operation. So I'm thinking from a logistics point of view, I took a picture of it and sent it to the Festival Society and said, you think you've got it easy, I think. Anyway, it was a very interesting trip and well worth it. One of the things that Mr. Romanko mentioned was that October the 20th to the 26th is National Waste Reduction Week. And I do know that I just got notification today actually that there is information about this on the town website. So we need to be aware that we can reduce, reuse, recycle more, and that would be available on our town website. For the last 10 days, I have had a bad cold and cough and sore throat. I'm assuming this is what they call the fall flu. I had arranged to have a flu shot, and when they phoned to say, could you come in for it, I said, I don't think so, I'm sick, so I'm going to have to wait until that's over. But this is not something that anybody wants to go through. There are several people that have had it, and I highly encourage everyone to consider having a flu shot. This is not a fun time, for sure. And lastly, I just wanted to say that on November the 8th at Watermark Beach Resort, Sir Optimus International of Osoyoos is holding a fall called Winter Fantasy Breakfast and Fashion Show, and it's from 9 until 11:30, and the money raised will support lots of Sir Optimus projects. So tickets are available at Boutique de Sonia and at Imperial and at Beyond Bliss and Oliver. So please plan to attend that. It will be a fun event. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor McCordoff. Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one quick note, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit because I made a promise at the regional district last week that I would bring a positive message out about a contract that they awarded last week. And as you drive and or walk along Lakeshore Drive, the town boundary does not extend all the way down there like most of our residents think, and it kind of terminates about 3/4 of the way down Lakeshore Drive, and it just transitions from town of Osoyoos right into the regional district part. And last Thursday there was a contract awarded to Grizzly Excavating, who we're very familiar with in our community, to extend the walkway along there for 800 meters down there, which will take it well down close to the border area down there where it turns to go back towards the east. And you know, I felt kind of good about it when you participate, and I'm sure Mayor Wells can attest to this. So often we sit there and never participate in any of the agenda items or rural matters, but we're still there all the time and that kind of thing. So this was kind of a feel-good thing. The Osoyoos representative, myself, actually got to put the motion on the floor, and there was a little bit of debate, but it was eventually passed and awarded to Grizzly Contracting. For folks that walk in our community along there, it's one of the nicest places in our community to walk, and this will just extend that right down much further than it is right now. And it certainly adds a measure of safety, because the people that have walked down there before have just transitioned from our walkway right onto the roadway, and that's never a good thing. So piece of good news, and I wanted to pass that on, and I've met my commitment to the regional district now. So thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Rhodes. The day that I'm not there, then we get some action finally. But but it's really good for the town of Osoyoos. This is anytime we're getting paths and walkways and bike paths, that's a #1 goal. Councillor Ryan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I want to mention 3 upcoming events. One of them is this Wednesday, breakfast at Smitty's, and it's been organized to excuse me, to meet the candidates. Breakfast is for $10, as I understand it, and a couple of dollars of that will be going to the food bank. So it's a way to have breakfast and meet the candidates who are going to be running for mayor and council here in Osoyoos. The art gallery currently has a photo exhibit called Exposed, and it's an exhibition by the members of the Osoyoos Photography Club. And I was there last week, and it is just really marvelous. There's some beautiful images there by all kinds of people who are in the club, some of whom I knew were photographers, others that I didn't know were photographers. But they are also not only there to admire, but to purchase if you wish. So do take it in, and I don't know how long it's on, but it's certainly worth a visit. Thirdly, a group that's very close to my heart, the Soap Players, who are our own local group of thespians and put on wonderful plays, are going to have another in this series of the Nonsense group, and it's called Nunset Boulevard. It's about a group of nuns who are just up to their usual antics, and so there have been some little reviews of it, but it's coming up on the 21st and 22nd of November, Friday and Saturday. So that's about a week after the elections, I guess. So if you can make it, I know you will not be disappointed. I also just wanted to say, give you a few reasons why I am going to vote for the fire hall. There's been a lot of talk about it, and I have certainly read a lot of the things that were said and written, and I'd just like to give you a few reasons why I am going to vote yes to the fire hall. First of all, because the current fire hall is not up to the job. It's over 50 years old, and while 50-year-olds generally are very able and active, this one is showing its age, and so it's just not what we need for going forward. It's the new one is going to be more than a fire hall. It's going to be a disaster management center. When we have fires, which we do quite frequently, actually in the area and in the South Okanagan, evacuations, floods, any kind of natural disaster that calls for a concerted response from different responders, then it will be the hub for directing that. It also contains a number of green building elements. They're designed to save power, water, energy, and they also, importantly, qualify us for gas tax funding for sustainability. And as you know, Council and the community have signed on very firmly to an environmentally friendly and sustainable regime. It's also a local training facility for our firefighters. They are going to be able, on their own premises, to do some key training exercises so that they will be safer, and so will we. The contributions from our partners have also impressed me. The Osoyoos Indian Band, the Rural Fire Department are both on side, and the Rural Fire Department has made a very sizable upfront contribution as well. And the cost of this is also something that I think is a good bargain. I have calculated the cost to me personally. I wonder if you've calculated how much you will personally be paying. Well, you can do that by, there's a little formula, and you look on your improvements on your assessment notice, and if you have any problems, just call the town. They'll be happy to help you and walk you through it. For me, I will be paying $54 a year, which at $1 a week, I think, is really good fire insurance. So again, if you want to figure out how to do that for yourself, if you want any facts or have any questions, you can call the town at 495-6515, and they'll be happy to help you.
Thanks, Councillor Ryan, and thanks for that good information on the fire hall. You really sent something off when you said $1 a week. That's, yeah, I think that's affordable by anyone, and I too will be supporting the fire hall referendum. And I have 2 properties, so I get to pay twice. But I still think it's a very needed asset for our community, and it has to do with when you touched on that training component. The firefighters, you know, they're the young folks. Fires are getting nastier these days. There's way more volatile and toxic chemicals, and we really owe it to our firefighters to have a training facility where we can go through and have actual fires and give them the knowledge and skills and experience to look after both the town, but also, as importantly, to look after themselves and each other. So it's really crucial that we have this training facility, because where we are now in this building, there really is nowhere to do any training whatsoever. So I look forward to this coming up on the November the 15th election. As everybody knows, I've retired. I'm not running for re-election. The next meeting, which will be the first Monday in November, will be my last meeting. So I'll save my comments till then, and I'll just report out on a regular basis here. Last week I overnighted in Kelowna and attended a meeting for CIDIT, Southern Interior Development Initiative Trust. And this is a political appointment to this trust, and roughly it's a money lending trust that has approximately $50 million that we circulate through the Southern Interior for doing startup companies. Again, it's about jobs. It's sort of it's higher than high risk. We take ownership pieces of these companies and convertible debentures and things like that to because some of them really don't have collateral, but there's been some very amazing great successes there. And out of the $50 million that we received from the federal government about 10 years ago, we still have $50 million and have a lot of money out there working for us. So I think that says something. Met with Blake Richards, a Calgary MP, chairs the caucus tourism. He was out doing getting in touch with the local folks, and so he was coming through the Okanagan, hitting all the centers, and met with the town and Destination Osoyoos, and looking at what the federal government could do to help tourism, and if there's a real active role for them. So we had a very good meeting with him. Met with Community Foundation of Okanagan Smilkameen. This is that great. I really hope we can get this kicked off here. It has that great charitable component to it where people get to pick their charities, and we can actually start a foundation where people can contribute in this town to services that are needed in this town. Went to, on Saturday, was asked to speak at the RCMP area veterans dinner. Had good fun there. I got to talk about water. So we went through the gamut from milfoil to endocrine disruptors to zebra quaggas. So I think I pretty well bored them about anything they ever wanted to know about water in the South Okanagan. Also importantly, I attended a project liaison meeting. This is just a bit of an overview of it from the Okanagan Correction Center. So the folks were there from the Correction Center, MLA Larson, Hovannes, myself, Chief Louis, and actually had a tour of the site and looked at where they are, and it's just amazing. There's a lot of footings in there, a lot of concrete being poured, all the connections are in, underground wiring. This is going to be geothermal, so that's all happening. There would be I would say 30 workers on site when I was there, just doing the footings and things like that. And it's sort of going between 20 and 40 right now. There will be 500 workers there at some points, and it's amazing how fast they're going. The actual cells are going to come in from Spokane, Washington. And that sort of bothered me a bit when I heard that they're not being done locally. But to try to establish a one-time where you make cells here, you couldn't do it on a pre-pour basis. The company in Spokane makes cells for, I guess, North America, maybe the world, I don't know. But they'll come in on a truck, and they'll have the toilet and sink plumbed in, and the electrical in them. And they're just going to come in and get stacked, and I guess you get into the back and hook them up, and the walls are going to be concrete tip up. They are being manufactured in Kelowna, and the people that are doing it, PCL and BC Corrections, very aware of that local component and working hard to do it. But as I say, with the cells, that would be impossible. And I believe there's 370 of them. With the ladies, there was so many, and then there was the ladies and things like that. So yeah, they will be opening the doors by January of 17, on time and on budget, and it's quite a beehive of activity. I know there's been information out there about the job opportunities, and I just want to really touch on those. There's a real large number of good jobs for South Okanagan people that are here. And my calculation said out of that 250, 60, possibly 270 jobs, some in culinary and things like that, there's a real good 100 plus that are available for people in the South Okanagan that don't currently work for corrections. So to that end, there was a meeting, already had the meeting, and people came out and showed interest, and it was a 2 to 4 hour meeting, I think, asked questions and things like that. There's now a two-day session going on where it's going to really take the people that are interested into a little more depth. So you'll go for a 2-day session, and they're being offered in Osoyoos, Oliver, Osoyoos Indian Band, and Penticton. And I believe there's 55 people in Osoyoos signed up. So, you know, there's going to be people that it fits and it doesn't fit and all that. But I just think it's such a great opportunity. We don't get these opportunities coming to small towns very often, where there's real good paying jobs that are available. You don't need specialized training. They really stress that they're looking for that right personality, that right person, and if they can, a grade 12 would be adequate if you had that right personality. And then the training will be done by the BC Justice Institute. It will be done locally. It'll be a six weeks course in which the new hire would be being paid. And again, this opportunity, I really hope that people are aware of it. And if you know someone that sort of, you know, just doesn't have it working right for them, certainly make sure that they have some information that they are these job opportunities. And then the rest of the folks, they'll be transfer-ins. And the prison itself, the correction center, is going to have some very neat components to do with it being on Osoyoos Indian Band land. It's going to have a horse component where they're going to be able to work with some of the inmates and attempt to outreach and change lives through a horse component where they would be riding and training and things like that. So it really looks positive. It's in a great site. And I'll be giving, well, I guess I won't be giving any further updates. My days as a liaison meeting attendee are probably done. But it's really nice to see this kicked off and the opportunity that it's going to bring to all of South Okanagan. So, I think that's my report. We will entertain a motion to adjourn. Rhodes Ryan, all in favor. Good afternoon, folks.
Okay, that